Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Behind the Books annual benefit. Literacy lights up our world. We have a packed evening for you. Right now, there are over 150 people who have joined us this evening. That is so cool that we could all get together to support literacy tonight. I'm bummed that I couldn't be there together. I'm bummed that we couldn't all be together this gala season, but this is the next best thing. We've got an amazing, amazing night of all kinds of great speakers. We've got trivia. We've got everything. And of course, we are celebrating Jacqueline Woodson, Jackie Woodson, one of the most prolific and awarded authors in the Kidlit universe and beyond. And another amazing author, close friend of hers, now a close friend of mine, the wonderful Rita Williams Garcia. They're both here tonight, and we're going to have them in a short while. Keep the bookmarks we sent you. You should have those. They should be next to your martini, next to your glass of wine. You should be able to pull those out, bookmark with a stack of books on it, because we have a great door prize for the winner of the raffle, which will be at the end of the evening. That is how we convince you to stay all the way to the end. There's a prize for the raffle winner, and it is a big basket of vodka. That is not a joke. That is true. The next thing I'm going to do this evening is I'm going to introduce my wonderful co-host, the one and only Fatoumata, new friend of mine. Fatoumata Doucouré is joining us this evening to help me out. She's a 5th grade student at the wonderful PS 154 Harriet Tubman School in Harlem. She's a rapper. She's a behind the book rock star, most importantly, and she'll be leading the trivia contest portion of this evening. So she's going to read the first trivia question and tell you a little bit about behind the book. Take it away, Fatoumata.
Hi, I'm Fatoumata, and I love Behind the Book programs because they inspire people to write books. I'm really excited to help out tonight. There will be 3 trivia questions, and we will ask you to type your answers into the chat box to the right. Whoever answers first will win a prize. The winners will be announced at the end of the evening. Trivia question 1.
Everybody ready?
Okay. Early in Alice's adventures in Wonderland, Alice shrinks down to a very small size and then has to swim through a river of what?
That's kind of a hard question. Why don't you say it again?
Okay. Early in Alice's adventures in Wonderland, Alice shrinks down to a very small size and then has to swim through a river of what?
Put your answers in the chat.
All right. All right. I thank you so much for that, Fatoumata. I have to admit, I have no idea what the answer is. I have a 4-year-old, and I've definitely read that book recently, and I have no clue. So I will not be winning any prizes tonight. Our next guest this evening is the wonderful Susan Ellman. She's been our board president for the past 4 years. She's supportive, gentle, but strong, and works tirelessly to guide the board and keep the organization on course. I know you all know Susan. Take it away, Susan.
Thank you, Charles, and welcome everyone. Thank you for celebrating with us. I wish we were at the Strand all having a drink together, but not this year, hopefully next year. This has been a challenging time for all young people everywhere, but especially for those we reach with our programs. Many parents couldn't supervise home teaching because they work, had other siblings to care for, and may not have spoken English. Too many students didn't have internet or computers, and so couldn't connect with their schools and friends. They were lonely, scared, shut in their homes, and often dealing with family members with COVID. Teachers did their best in this new reality, but were tired and overworked. BTB provided a bright spot for parents, students, and teachers by doing what they do so wonderfully: encourage students to be engaged readers and writers with virtual author events, books, art programs, and drama programs. We have a great board of directors who immediately understood the gravity of the situation and came together to support BTB with both their time and money. They all have a love of books and understanding that reading is the path to future success. I now get to introduce Jo Humans, who, for anyone who has any involvement with BTB, needs no introduction. She started this organization 18 years ago with $15,000 she raised from friends and with Rita Williams Garcia as her first author. She is incredibly creative and innovative and never stops thinking about how to make BTB's programs better. Any organization that has survived this past year and has been able to continue its core mission has done so because of the strength of its leadership. Jo and her team is a testament to what you can do when you refuse to see limits. I now turn the Zoom over to Jo.
Thank you. With Fatumata, we will tell you a little bit more about the work that we do. First of all, thanks to Susan. I personally use Susan as a mentor and as a writing helper so much of the time among her other jobs. I should say happy Earth Day to everybody, as well as happy Ramadan. It's been a crazy year, as we all know, filled with heartbreak, as we all know, but there have been some bright sides, knock on wood. For example, we have known for a long time that our organization is the only one in New York City that does the combination and delivers the combination of workshops that we do. We bring the author into the classroom. Our students get lots of books. We do art with them with teaching artists. We do drama with our drama consultant, Karen, which has been great during remote learning. We also bring in volunteers to help kids with research and with writing, and we go on field trips. All of that leads to literacy engagement. So it's kind of a complicated concept. It's not the same as learning to read. It's becoming an active reader who's intrinsically motivated to read and is able to form personal and multidisciplinary connections to a book. So in order to increase our own impact, we wanted to research best practices and the barriers to increasing literacy engagement in the communities that we serve. So we commissioned a group from Teachers College to write a white paper, which has just been completed and which is about to get published, not about, but will be published hopefully within the next 6 months. And as it turns out, the white paper shows that our multidisciplinary approach centered on giving kids a voice, agency, and confidence is the right path, and has proven us to be leaders in thought leaders in the area of literacy engagement. So we're really proud about that, and we're looking forward to getting the word out to schools, teachers, and most importantly, policymakers, because this is something that comes from the top down. So as Susan said, our kids were hardest hit. One of the areas they were most hit in was getting to school remotely. How do you go to school if you don't have a laptop, you don't have a Chromebook, and you don't have internet access? How can you write an essay using a cell phone? Think about that, not easy. Denise, our head of programs, polled 11 of our schools and found out that 663 kids were missing a way to connect with their school, making learning impossible. So we saw a need, we started a campaign, and we were able to buy and give 101 Chromebooks books to students all at different age levels. We also saw the need, as we always do, to get books into the hands of kids. But because we couldn't get to these kids learning remotely, and I was not going to drive to every kid's house that we work with, we held a book bash in front of our office in October. We're in Harlem, and we gave over 1,500 books away in 4 hours. And we learned that one of our elementary schools has 48% of their kids living in shelters. So we started giving to shelters that are connected to our students, where some of our students are living in Harlem and in the Bronx. And we're also going to hold another book bash on June 12th in Washington Heights. That's another area where we have schools and kids, and where kids need books. We also realized we had to broaden our pool of interns to involve young people who don't usually apply for internships because they need to be paid. So we got a grant, and now we're paying them, and we're able to attract more Black and Latinx interns to reflect the communities where we work, which we think is very cool. And of course, we're working really hard on strategic planning and growing our programs considerably around the city. So we're now poised for growth. We're looking forward to the future. And again, we're very excited to have so many of you here. So thank you all for listening, and back to you, Charles. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Jo. That's amazing to learn about some of the work that is done at B2B. I think we can all agree that books have been, I know for me, very important this past year. They're an escape, and it all starts with reading at a young age, getting books into the schools, and improving the literacy that Joe spoke about. Next thing we're going to do, and we're going to watch a little video, but before we get to the video, while you're watching the video, if we did this correctly, there should be a little button. I forget which side it's on. It's either on this side or this side, and I can't remember exactly. And it says donate. It's a red button that says donate. And we are here to ask your support in raising as much money as we can tonight to support the projects of Behind the Book. So while you're watching the video, click the button, click it later. We're needing, we've got some time here. I'm going to introduce the video while you click. Go ahead, cue the video and watch it and donate at the same time. Go ahead.
Behind the Book is a literacy nonprofit. We work in Title I schools, and our goal is very simple. It's all about literacy engagement. The kids we do work with, the Title I kids, are the kids that suffer the most from all of the things happening with COVID. They've lost family members. Some of them are not going to school. Some of them don't have the electronic equipment necessary to go to school. So I'm very proud of the staff, everyone who's worked here, all of our partners in our schools, for being resilient and for helping us to serve the kids who need us the most.
Every time we have an activity or we meet the author, they just love it. They are so engaged. They ask so many questions. They really participate. And then at the end, it's like, so how did you guys like this? And they're like, we got to do this and the other classes did not. So it's like they're even showing off. So they feel very, very special, and it's a treat for them. They love it.
We got to participate with Harlem Grown and meet the author, Tony Hillary. What I like about Harlem Grown is that they inspire people to do right. And if you do right, it helps the community.
I think also what's really great is authors continue to stay in contact and engage with students even beyond the program itself. And so we've had kids who emailed and gotten responses from authors that have visited the space who might have sent additional materials.
The fact is that when you write about something you actually truly care about or that you actually feel connected with, it makes the writing process feel a little bit easier and more impactful for other people, especially the reader. When they read it, I wanted to make sure that it connects back to what I feel.
Behind the Books opened the door for me, and I was able to walk through it, and there was no judgment. When we did this book, The Gifted Entrepreneurs of Harlem, we were also working within the curriculum. So this stood out. So this, because it was theirs and they owned it, they loved it. They worked harder at it. And to get this opportunity to show their work and their skills, children who were not reading wanted to read Daddy Dollar, and they started learning to read. It was an opportunity that we would have never, ever gotten anywhere.
Healthy food is good for you so your body can be strong. Sing along. Essential workers need fair pay. They make your food so you could go on your way. Food survey on the highway. Oh look, there is an urban farm. There's fresh food that will do you no harm. We need affordable food so we can eat. There's a community fridge located down the street. Well, don't you dare feel a sense of lack. Sometimes it's okay to have a snack.
I am so honored to be able to introduce myself. I'm Denise Cotton. I'm the Director of Programs at Behind the Book. And the reason why I say I'm honored is if you look at that video, what that represents is the work of the programming team and everyone that came together to be able to deliver these innovative programs to our students. I was having a conversation with Joe when I was thinking about what I was going to speak about tonight. And what I said to her is, I wanted to really express how the power of the human spirit and resilience is what's come through in our virtual programming. Before COVID hit, I was very adamant, Joe was very adamant. We wanted everyone to be in the classroom, the authors to be in the classroom, and to be able to speak to the students one-on-one. And what I've been able to see during the virtual programs is how much we're still able to connect with each other and inspire one another over these virtual platforms. Despite all of the challenges, we came into this school year And if anyone was following what was happening in terms of the budget cuts that the Department of Education in New York City was facing, it was getting slashed. And what touched my heart is, despite the budgets or the money that the schools felt they didn't have at the time, they prioritized Behind the Book, and they said, we have to have you guys come back because you're able to bring that spark, that literacy, and that joy and that connection that we want to make sure the students have during this time. I remember speaking to a principal, and she let me know that over 50% or close to 50% of the students at her school in Harlem ended up in a shelter. It was an uptick during COVID. And she said, is there any way that we can double the amount of programs that we have from Behind the Book? Because the students really need that space of creativity and enjoyment of reading and meeting the author. Let's try to give them the best that we can give. And that's exactly what I feel and see that the team did this year. The beautiful thing also about expanding and the team being able to work with authors virtually is that it just blew the roof off of the locations that we could find authors that were best to bring into our classrooms. Especially for our Latinx students, we find that some of those authors are in Mexico or in California. And so it didn't matter where an author was located, they were able to connect, and the conversations and the ideas that were shared were amazing. Something that really was a challenge for a lot of the schools as well is art and drama. And we were able to bring those sorts of hands-on experiences for the students, finding creative ways for them to use shadow, create pop-up cards, connect with characters, and do acting out, and it translated on the screen, which was phenomenal. Fatoumata, who you guys are able to hear her rap and see her beautiful smile, she was a part of a fantastic program around food insecurity in our communities. And the students were able to meet the author who took a vacant lot, an abandoned lot, and turn it into this beautiful garden. And so the students were able to do research where they were able to, on their school website, this resource is available to the community, where those who are maybe looking for places where they can get food and support in that area are able to learn from our students and find better ways to feed the community. We were able to work with English language learners and provide social justice programs. And I also found that one of the beautiful things we were able to do is bring the outside inside. When the students couldn't come out, we brought microscopes and we brought all of the students the materials that they needed so that they could really enjoy and learn hands-on, even when we couldn't get outside or in the classroom to be with them. It's such an honor for me to be here with you tonight, and thank you so much for showing up for our students and with our programs.
Thank you so much for that, Denise. That was amazing. And thank you so much to all of you. Again, we've got over 150 people in the virtual room with us here tonight. Thank you to everyone who has already donated. You heard a little bit from Denise how important B2B has been this year during COVID. It's absolutely more than ever an essential service. Thank you to everyone who's donated so far. Donations are coming in now fast and furious. Don't miss out now that everyone's coming live. If you're having trouble, figure it out. Now we're going to move on to the next part of our program. Youth Inc. partners with New York City nonprofits that work with young people to help them grow and serve more kids. Behind the Books partnership with Youth Inc. has been instrumental in its growth, and Youth Inc. has been there to support Behind the Book for the past 7 years. And next we've got Lauren Alex McCourt. She's the head of programs at Youth Inc., and she'd like to share her thoughts. We're going to kick it to Lauren. Go ahead, Lauren.
My name is Lauren Alex McCourt, and I'm the Chief Program Officer at Youth Inc., where Behind the Book has been a nonprofit partner in our portfolio since 2013. Over the past 8 years, we have worked with Behind the Book on fundraising best practices and board engagement, and we provided the seed funding for them to hire a full-time director of development, and the growth over the past 8 years has been phenomenal. They have created 8 new board positions and have increased the number of young people that they serve by 125%. When we first met Behind the Book, we were incredibly impressed by the creativity of their program model. The opportunity to bring authors and young people together to connect over a shared vision and piece of work is powerful. And that power and that creativity continued when we met the leadership. Joe Humans at the team and the team at Behind the Book are true forces of nature, as evidenced by the fact that a global pandemic that shuttered in-person learning for so many did not stand in their way from them finding new and inventive ways to reach their young people and keep that love of learning alive. From virtual field trips to community book fairs to delivering butterfly larvae, Behind the Book students know that this organization has their back and will do what it needs to keep that spark and passion alive. We are delighted to have Behind the Book in our portfolio, thrilled to be able to celebrate you all at your gala. Congratulations, Behind the Book.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much, Lauren. And I would encourage everyone, bids are coming in. Donations are now coming in. Click the donate button. The thermometer, I'm going to tell you, the thermometer is a little bit off. We had a little bit of a snafu. One of our generous donors this evening wanted to donate $1,200, accidentally donated $120,000. We're having a staff meeting right now considering whether to give it back or not. No, I'm just teasing. We're going to give it back. If anyone out there, if Jeff Bezos, if you're watching tonight, if you want to give $120,000, we will certainly take that. But you need to subtract about $117,800 from the running total. So where we are right now is more like 159,000, even though the thermometer says 278,000. So do not think that we've already raised $250,000. There's plenty of room to go, folks, plenty of room. So keep those donations coming in. And next, I'm going to reintroduce my co-host of the evening, Fatoumata, for trivia question number 2. Take it away, Fatoumata.
Okay, hello. Trivia question number 2. Who is the best-selling fiction author of all times?
Tell them one more time.
All right. Who is the best-selling fiction author of all times?
All right. All right. I think I have an idea of that one. That one, I actually think I have an idea. And remember, put your answer in the chat. This is a speed game. Do not think about it. First one that comes to your mind, put it in the chat, because only the first winner will win. The first correct entry will win. All right. Next, we're going to introduce a good friend of mine, the wonderful Rita Williams Garcia, with Behind the Book from the very beginning. She's a New York Times bestselling author of novels for young adults and middle grade readers. Her novels include One Crazy Summer, Gone Crazy in Alabama, PSB 11. She has received many awards, including the Coretta Scott King Award, the Newbery Honor Book, the Junior Library Guild, so many awards, the Scott Odell Prize for historical fiction, and she was a National Book Award finalist for One Crazy Summer. And her newest book, which I'm sure is in your Amazon or your local bookstores shopping cart, is A Sitting in St. James, and that's going to be released in May, so be sure you get it. She's also the very first Behind the Book author Joe worked with in 2004 and continues to work with Joe in Behind the Book, and she grew up and still lives in Queens. Please welcome the wonderful Rita Williams Garcia. Take it away, Rita.
Hello, everyone. Well, let me tell you, I knew Jacqueline Woodson before I even met her. How's that possible? Okay, let me tell you. I was at the train station in Philadelphia, ready to go to the Children's Book Fair. I saw this young woman. She had kind of like this down-to-earth but regal bearing. I didn't know what Jacqueline Woodson looked like at the time, but only such a person looking like this young queen could know a girl's heart and a girl's heartbreak. I knew it was her. She was exquisite prose personified. We ditched the rides and we took a cab. About a dozen years ago or so, she and I were sitting at her kitchen table having a discussion, and she asked, "Where is this next generation of young Black writers?" Well, before you knew, there sprang the next generation, creating stories with children of color at the center, telling their stories. It was as if her longing for that generation or their longing for their voices had spoken them into existence. But if you know Jacqueline at all, you know that she's always behind the scenes, encouraging, advocating, mentoring, and making sure a lot of us hungry writers got paid and fed. But Ms. Woodson has inspired and engaged us with over 30 books, all award winning, to include poetry, memoir, fiction of all ages, and picture books. One of the most heralded authors of the children's literary universe, Miss Woodson has garnered 3 NAACP Image Awards for Outstanding Literature, 4 John Newbery Medals, numerous Coretta Scott King honors and awards, 4 National Book Award medals, 2 Lambda Literary Awards, the Langston Hughes Medal, the Margaret A. Edwards Award, the Hans Christian Andersen Award, and the Astrid Lindgren Memorial Award, among countless others. Ms. Woodson has recently served as the National Ambassador for Young People's Literature. She epitomizes the genius in the MacArthur Genius Award bestowed upon her in 2020. Love is the common denominator coursing through Jackie's works, underscored by themes of humanity. Our laureate, ambassador, and the 2021 Behind the Book honoree, Ms. Jacqueline Woodson.
Hi, my name is Jacqueline Woodson, and I want to start by telling you a story because I am a storyteller. But this is actually a true story. When I was a kid, there were not a lot of books in my classroom or in the world where people look like me inside the books and people look like me writing the books. And I remember there was a book that had won the Newbery Medal, which is a very prestigious children's book award. So this book was in every single classroom that could afford to have a classroom library. It was in every public library. It was in every school library in the country. It was everywhere. And being a young brown girl who loved to read, the book ended up in my hands. And I think it ended up in a lot of people's hands. And teachers were really excited about this book. And I remember reading it, and the only character in the book that had a name was the dog. And this was a book about a Black family in the South. I had come from a Black family. I had come from the South to New York as part of the Great Migration that, as we know, changed the narrative of this country. So I went into this book expecting to love it. This family was like my family. I was finally seeing some brown people on the page. And as I began reading this book, the first thing I noticed was that the family was really just depressed and sad. And then I noticed that thing about none of the characters being named. And then I noticed that they never hugged each other. And one thing about Black Southern families, about so many families, but I knew about my Black Southern family, you could not walk into a room, without someone reaching out and giving you a hug and saying, look how much you've grown, or you look just like your daddy's mama's sister's brother, whatever. But people were always hugging you. And it comes from a history of not knowing if you're going to keep your child, right? If you're going to be able to keep your child because of enslavement, right? There's a deep love that's sometimes based in fear of losing someone. And we see it now with this revolution that's happening. People are tired of their sons getting killed. They're tired of their daughters getting killed while sleeping. They're tired of losing their children for no reason. So we're in this moment of deep change. And back in the day, so was I. So as I read this book that I will continue to keep a name, but you can Google it and I'm sure you'll find it. And one thing you should know was that Cicely Tyson killed the movie version of this book. And so in that way, I feel like there was a reason this book was in the world, so that Cicely Tyson could come along and kill the movie version. But, we know that doesn't always happen with books to movies, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about being a little brown girl in a classroom, reading this book and growing sadder and sadder. And the reason I grew sadder and sadder was because this family was just off. They weren't like my family. And I knew I wanted to be a writer. And my confusion was, why is this family not what I understand a Black family to be? And then I found out that the person who wrote the book was not a person of color. It was a white man. And the thing that this did to me was made me think that if I wanted to be a writer, I had to meet a white person and I had to tell them my story, and then maybe they would decide to write it, because I did want to be a writer and I knew nothing about how to write a book. And this was my first lesson in learning how a book gets written. So I lived with that narrative for a long time, and for a long time thought, how am I going to get these stories that I'm writing every single day and love to write onto the page and out into the world? And what I know now is that representation matters. I grew up not knowing that any writers until 11th grade when I met Betty Thomas, and it changed my life. I remember him coming into our classroom. I was at Bushwick High School in Brooklyn, New York, and he came in, and the group of us, the college-bound kids, right, the selected few, and me, because I was the editor of the school literary journal, which meant that everything written in that journal was mine, because I wasn't trying to solicit, I was just trying to publish myself, but maybe there were a few others. Anyway, Betty Thomas came into our classroom, and I remember standing beside him for a photo and putting my hand on his shoulder and thinking, I'm touching a writer. I'm touching a writer. And it changed my life. It really, really changed my life. It made me really believe that I could do this writing thing. And it speaks to the importance of young people getting to see authors. And it speaks to the importance of the work that Behind the Book is doing. I am so deeply honored to be receiving this award, because I stand with Behind the Book. I've worked with y'all forever, and I believe that the work you're doing is changing the world. I believe that the work you're doing is helping teachers who, in this time of pandemonium, because I don't know if you all know, but no one's saying the P word the way it's supposed to be said, because I think part of us think the less we say it, the quicker it will be behind us. But in this time of the Philharmonic, we know that kids are not getting the kind of access they need to books. We know they're not getting the kind of access they need to their schoolwork. We're realizing, for those of us who hadn't before, that there's a deep disparity in what kind of access young people have to literature, to academics, to the world. And this is heartbreaking. And I'm grateful to Behind the Book for trying to do the work to even the playing field. And it's not easy work. So to the students who are struggling to get through this moment of, I don't know, plagiarism, but through this moment where we have to be safe and away from each other, know that this is not always going to be the moment. And in this moment, take the time to write, take the time to read, take the time to use your public library and get the access to the books by any means necessary. I mean, you know what I mean. I don't mean any means necessary, but in a way that gets you access and allows you to keep moving through this moment, because books are a way to escape a moment. They're a way to dream oneself out of a moment. They're a way to dream oneself into something new that you can create, because you have the power to change the world. I think when people think of someone doing the work of change, we think of these great figures and these famous people and all of this stuff. I am not exceptional. I've written a lot of books. I've won a lot of awards. And out there in the world, you throw a stone and you hit 20 Jacqueline Woodsons. We are out there. We are in the classrooms. We are in our houses. We are without the tools we need to tell a story. We are struggling in our classrooms. We are wondering where our next meal is going to come from. We are working odd jobs to help our families make a living. We are visiting our dads and our uncles and our brothers who are part of the system of mass incarceration and the prison industrial complex. We are everywhere, and we are trying to tell our stories, and we are trying to get them out there for the world. So see us, listen to us, know that we are here. And for the young people who want to one day write books, you're already halfway there. Just the dream alone is the beginning of the rest of your life. So I want to say thank you to Behind the Book. I want to say thank you to the teachers for your patience, for your having to figure out these platforms of learning that have me pulling my hair out as I watch my 13-year-old son try to get through them, and to the parents and to the funders who are out there helping to make a difference. You are funding the next Jacqueline Woodson. You are funding the next Rita Williams Garcia. You are funding the next Walter Dean Myers. You are funding the next Jason Reynolds and the next Kwame Alexander and the next Tori Maldonado. Oh man, you are doing the work to change the world, and I appreciate all of you, and I am so grateful to be here speaking to you in this way that is safe, that is keeping us alive. Keep changing the world. Behind the Books, thank you. I appreciate you. Young people, I see you and I walk with you and you stand on my shoulders, and I'm grateful to bear the weight of you. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Thank you so much, Jackie. That was amazing. Very cool to hear her experiences. I know a lot of you are here with us tonight for Jackie, and thank you for coming. We do have one major problem, though, which is we are still, Jackie spoke for about 10 minutes, and we're still hovering at $159,400. Our goal for the evening is $175,000. That means we are a solid $15,000 away. We have lots of donations coming in, all from all over the place. Laura Parrott, Chelsea Gover, Jennifer Fliss, Rob Weistook, many, many more, Robin Cantor, Sophie Sawyers, Jocelyn Smith. But what we really need, and everyone's donating now, $50, $100, we love that, but we really need some chunks out of that $15,000. We need a $1,000 donation. If you can donate $2,500, we really need that to come in now, please, so we can get that last $15,000. So we can get that donation of $175,000. Again, I don't think we fixed it. I don't know. I can't see what you're seeing, but the thermometer is wrong. There was a typo there. Someone meant to donate $1,200. They accidentally donated $120,000. That said, $1,200 is a great donation. If you can donate $1,200, we've still got more donations coming in now. Muffy Meyer, Derry Wilkins, lots of folks donating. We still have $15,000 to go. So if you can, $2,500, $1,000, $5,000 donation, that's how we're going to take big chunks out of this. So now I'm going to read the winners for our trivia questions. First correct answer in. Those people will receive autographed books and a Moleskine notebook to take notes for your next book. Now, if you remember, our first question was early in Alice's adventure in Wonderland, Alice shrinks down to a very small size and then has to swim through a river of what? And the answer is her own tears. I know a lot of you knew that, but the only person who was first is the wonderful Casey Cornelius, who got it first. Congratulations, Casey. Question number 2, who is the best-selling fiction author of all time? That's tough. So the most commonly accepted answer is Agatha Christie. She personally authored 85 novels, if you can believe that, and has sold well over 2 billion of them. However, William Shakespeare is estimated to have sold approximately the same number of copies across his 42 published plays and poems, though the figures are a little more sketchy and over a much longer period of time. So it's up to you whether or not he counts. But we do have a winner. First of all, I didn't know that Agatha Christie had 2 billion books in print. That's insane. But the winner for question number 2 is Brian Trauman. Congratulations, Brian Trauman. And I think I pushed you guys a little bit. I must have, because we just raised another $3,000, $4,000. We're at 163,000 now, and we are climbing. We are climbing now. Well done. And last but not least, we are going to pull the raffle. And that, remember, you have got a bookmark. Pull it out now. And the winner, as I said at the beginning of the show, will receive a Tito's handmade vodka basket with lots of very cool surprises. So, who has won the Tito's handmade vodka surprise? So pull out your bookmarks. And the winner is, are you ready? Drum roll. That is for you. You need to do the drum roll at home. You need to literally bang on your coffee table because we don't have drum sounds. The winner is number 73. 73 is the winner of the Tito's vodka. It's the number on the back of your bookmark, folks. 73 is the big winner. I love a martini. If you need some help drinking it, it's been a tough year. You guys have already raised $163,107. If you are number ticket 73, the team from B2B is going to reach out to you, get you your vodka, and we are at 163,000. Again, the goal is 175, so we've got a long way to go. You can still bid when the program's over. Continue to bid, continue to click that. If you are having trouble with the functionality, just call one of the folks at B2B, email Tara, email Joe. They're happy to take your money a different way. We will make sure we get your donation. If you wake up tomorrow and you said, I want to up my donation, we'll do that too. Joe, take it away. Thank you for having me, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you, Charles, so much. You're the best. You are the best. We really, really appreciate you. We're sorry to people for any of the confusion on the donations. The person who made that $12 million mistake, I would like to personally offer you a spot on our board of directors. Thank you very much. We would love to have you. I also want to thank all of our sponsors. That has been incredible to have all of you. I can't list you all now, but if you were looking at our emails, hopefully you were. If you were in the room a little bit early, you saw them over and over again. Bless you, all of you. We appreciate you more than you would ever know. Very big thanks to our board of directors, our young executive board, and of course, our staff who have been brilliant through this very challenging time. And of course, a thanks to our special friend, Fatumata. Hopefully you guys can take a deep breath, go have dinner, think about reading, think about books, and for goodness sake, think about our kids. And yes, we will be happy to take your donation in any form. Thank you all. Have a great night. We really appreciate you. Bye-bye. One last quick thing. Let's roll that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.